Hey gang, so today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the various carry positions for CCW. There are various carry positions, okay? You have appendix, you have 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or 4 and 8, they're about the same. And then of course you have the 6 o'clock. And then of course you have pocket carry, shoulder carry, and all the other weird things. But let's talk about the most common ones first. And that is the 3 and 9 or 4 and 8, which are again very similar, about the same. In the 3 o'clock position, that would be where the gun is on your side. And let's go into the pros and cons about this. Now, first and foremost, a lot of beginners will say, hey, this is the most ideal position for beginners because you have less chance of hurting yourself in this whole thing. Not true, folks, not true. I want to take a little look at this. So I'm carrying right now in the 9 o'clock, which is everybody else's 3 o'clock because I'm correct-handed and you're not. Okay, but here, if you take a look, this gun is about on my side. Now, if I'm standing here, just like not at attention, okay, my leg is in line, my foot rather, is in line with the straight line of this barrel. Okay, so in theory, if this gun goes off, okay, that round is going to go through my knee, down my tibia fibia, and just blow a hole through my foot or the bones inside. So no, it is not safer, okay, for beginners and all that other stuff. So it's not a safer position because it is on your side. Now, if you're talking about your sensitive anatomy, okay, fine, but you'll be limping for the rest of your life or something like that. But let's go into the pros. The pros about this is if you got a good rig, it is comfortable. It's comfortable to sit down. You can hang out, no problem sitting down at length because you don't have something digging into the bend, or you can sit back, there's nothing on your back, and all that other stuff, okay? So that is a pro. The other thing about that is that in any fighting position, if your back is against the wall or something like that, you don't have something compressed, you can actually get access to it. The other thing is that if I am going hand to hand with somebody and I kind of step back, I'm giving a little bit distance, it's not a catch-all by any stretch. All I'm doing is making it slightly harder for them to access my firearm. I still need to know how to fight. I still need to know how to defend this thing, but it's just giving me a little bit extra time. Negligible, if you will. So those are some of the pros. Now, the negative to carrying in the 3 or 9 or 8 or 4, similar, is the fact that you are relegated to a smaller firearm. Okay, now, I don't carry this firearm in the 3 or 9. I wouldn't. Okay, but if you take a look, this firearm is sticking out very, very sorely in this direction. Even if I stand up straight, this thing is still sticking out. Okay, so essentially, I would have to carry a smaller firearm because just the way the body is shaped, you have less surface area on your side than you do in your front or your back. Okay, so now you're stuck with a smaller firearm. Now, pound for pound, another negative is that the draw is slower. The gun has to go from here all the way to here, which is a longer distance than, say, in the front appendix area. Okay, longer draw because of longer distance. Okay. So that is another negative, okay? Now, the other thing is that, yeah, you can defend it. It's in between my side and my body, but, you know, somebody from behind can try and fight me for this firearm if they know it's there, okay? Whereas if I was carrying in another position, that might not be the case. But I still can defend it, being that my arm is right here, but it is not as 100% as, say, in the front and appendix area. So those are some of the pros and cons of the 3 and 9 or 8 and 4. Let's go into the 6 o'clock carry. So hold please. Let's talk about the 6 o'clock carry. So, and by the way, let's be real here. Most of the time, if you're going to be carrying in the 6 o'clock, you're likely not wearing a holster. So for the sake of comedic relief, I have ditched the holster for this particular example, but the 6 o'clock would be where the firearm is directly on your spine behind you. Now, okay, you can carry a larger firearm in this position for sure. You have the real estate that way along the body to conceal that. Now, I do not condone carrying without a holster. That is just silly pants all day long. The other thing about this is that in order to get the gun out, you need to then essentially have 2 chicken wing arms. And what I mean by that is one arm behind the back to clear the garment and the other arm behind the back to go get the gun with your primary hand. Now, if I am any close in fighting, this is not a good place to be when I'm throwing hands with somebody else. That is just dumb. That is one aspect of the 6 o'clock which is not smart. The other thing is sitting down, while if you're not using the back of your chair, may be okay. You do have something sticking out, if I may go side saddle for you. You do have something sticking out back here that if somebody can see you from behind, there's no back to your chair or something like that, well, guess what? They're gonna see that something's there. And you're not overly excited, if you know what I mean. The other thing about it is if you do have a seat back, well, guess what? Sitting back on that right next to your tailbone or your spine is way uncomfortable. So, and slow, by the way. If I have my back to the chair, I can't really get this firearm easily, especially if I'm driving. If I'm driving, good luck, because with the seatbelt and how the chairs are configured, you can't just slide up that easily, car seat, to do that, okay? So, and it is much slower to get this firearm out, and I got a crappy grip on that too, and get this gun out so that way I can use it, okay? As you saw, I leaned kind of forward a little bit, got 2 chicken wings. It was just bad, let's just say that. So another thing about this is the health risk factor to this, because you have a very rigid metal object, okay, that is not going to bend to your will, that if you actually take a fall, and there have been statistics about this where, especially being as low as it is to your spine, people have hurt themselves severely, and in some cases paralyzed themselves when they've taken a fall and landing on their back on the firearm. So, very dangerous thing to be, even if it was holstered, okay? Just because you're wearing a holster doesn't make it all right, okay? So there is that. And then, of course, I mean, let's just be real here. It's cool if you're, you know, chilling with the homies and doing some cholo fit and having some 40s, you know, you'll have the gun in your 6 o'clock. I get it, but not practical for everyday carry. So let's go into the most common carry position today, and this would be the appendix carry. 11 or 1, depending on if you're lefty or righty. If you're lefty, it's going to be obviously more in the 11 o'clock. If you're righty, it's going to be more in the 1 o'clock. So there's a lot of pros about this particular carry method, and that is, one, you can also carry a larger firearm in this position. As you can see, I'm carrying essentially a full-size M&P with a flared magwell, an X300 on there, and a Holosun 507 comp, which is a huge, ridiculous 80-inch TV screen, if you ask me. But it's all good in the hood, okay? But you can actually carry something like this and conceal it no problem, okay? Because you have more real estate in this direction. Now, again, let's go back to the safety myth about this, in that if there's a negligent discharge, you can actually really do some severe damage to yourself. Well, folks, if you are anatomically correct and you're carrying at 11 or 1, it's not 12 o'clock. Let's just leave that alone, okay? And if you notice right now, this firearm is not pointed at anything of mine, okay? It is pointed straight down in between my feet, okay? Now, if it does, for whatever reason, go off, which, by the way, it wouldn't, okay? It would not go off unless I have a crappy holster, but it would not go off unless I actuated the trigger or I have a crappy setup like a bad holster, okay? But even if it did, the only thing that I'm at risk of injury for is overpressure. Stings like a mofo, but that's about it, okay? So just a little public service announcement there. So you can carry a larger firearm. It's actually safer. It's not pointing at your body parts, okay? It is a faster draw from A to B. So now to get this gun from here to here, if you notice, this distance is much shorter, okay? The other thing about it is, in fighting, yes, if I have access to my firearm, so does my bad guy if we're in hands. But it goes back to the previous. You need to know how to defend this. You should be a well-rounded defender, not just knowing how to shoot a firearm, but use your hands and feet. So there's that. You got to defend it. Okay. Sitting down is actually, can be rather, very comfortable. Okay. So it really all depends on your rig. In this particular firearm, in this particular holster, I have sat down for hours at length. In fact, I've done long drives with this firearm in this configuration with no problem, no hot spots whatsoever. I could sit like this all day long if I really, really needed to. Okay, so really no problem whatsoever. Plus, if we're talking about cars, say particularly, the Appendix carry is actually ideal for the car because if I needed to get access to this thing, the lap belt is over here, my shirt is over the lap belt, all I got to do is just draw the firearm. Unlike, say, 6 or the 3 or 9, 8 or 4 position where the seatbelt might get in the way or I might have the door over here, it's actually not ideal. So the Appendix would be ideal for driving. So there's a few things about that there. In this particular case, we have comfort if you have the right rig, and that is, folks, if you got that $35.99 holster from Amazon or something like that, it's not going to be your proper rig for something like this, or really at all. A good holster, unfortunately, is going to cost you a pretty penny. It's going to be at least $100, upwards of about $160 to $180. But a good holster like that is going to make the difference between being able to sit comfortably, keeping the gun secure, protecting the trigger, and all those things. So if you have a good rig, you'll be able to hang out in the Appendix area all day long without batting an eye. Okay. Another thing to note is, and I'm not tucking this in as we're doing this video because I want you to see the firearm, but these particular clips, I can actually stuff a shirt if I really wanted to, tuck it in between my pants and so on, and essentially you wouldn't know the wiser. You pretty much think I have a dad bod, but other than that, you'd dismiss me like anybody else. So a couple things to note with regards to the various carry positions along the waist. You have the Appendix and some of the good reasons about it. You have the 3 and 9, the pros and cons there. And of course you have that crappy old 6 o'clock, which I don't condone. The other thing about it is pocket carry and shoulder. So pocket carry, don't care. It's just a terrible way to go. Because even if you have big pockets like this, okay, if speed is a factor, and it always is, folks, it really is, okay? Even if I did here try to get my gun out, okay, I'm still slower, okay, and I have to fight my pocket. Now, these pockets are big and whatever because these are cargo pants, but imagine your typical denim pants where the opening is much more curved and smaller, and you're trying to get in there. Let's face it, folks, you're not getting that firearm with any degree. Secondly, even if you have that pocket holster, okay, you're still relegated to a much smaller firearm. And if you don't have that pocket holster and you're just, you know, free gunning it, okay, well, guess what, folks? You're cruising for a bruising because that thing is not protected. That trigger guard is not protected or anything like that. So you're just asking for trouble. Now, I'm not even gonna, and yes, I am gonna, but get into the seated thing because now take a look. If you're sitting down and you're trying to get into your gun, I mean, you might as well just be like, take my stuff, kill me, because you're not getting that firearm with any degree of speed or proficiency. So pocket carry, no. All right. Now let's talk about the 1950s detective, the shoulder holster rig. Okay, that's where if I had a shoulder holster rig and the gun would be about here. Now, okay, fine, you're still stuck with a smaller gun because if you have a larger firearm, it's going to stick out in the back or it's going to stick out in the front or whatever because, again, you have less real estate there. But the other thing about it is that you have a firearm elevated here, and to draw this firearm, I have to cross body it, which is fine. I'll turn this way so you can probably see better. I have to cross body it, and then I have to come here and then press out. Okay, fine. Nothing really crazy with that. But guess what, folks? I have to have a jacket or some kind of concealment garment. Depending on where you live, that might be a thing, because if it's June and you're in Southern California or somewhere like that, trust me, you're not trying to wear more layers. You're trying to get away with less layers. So carrying in that shoulder position is not ideal. Now, I get it. If you're going to a very formal affair and you're wearing the monkey suit tuxedo and you're wearing that dinner jacket, okay, fine. But again, stuck with a smaller firearm and your draw is a different procedure altogether. And of course you have your spare mags over on this side. You should have spare mags all the time, but particularly with the shoulder holster, you want those spare mags to act as a counterweight on top of being more ammo for you. So a couple things about that. But again, of the carry positions that I covered for you today, the most ideal would be the Appendix carry with the proper rig. And join us for another video later on down the line where we talk about holsters and the proper setup for holsters, because not all holsters are created equal. If you think all gun laws are an infringement and you live behind the enemy lines in the People's Republic of California, then check out our Unconvicted Felons t-shirt. We came out with this t-shirt design for you where most of us are fed up with the situation here in California. So check it out. Check out our website. Awesome t-shirt coming at you. And our new line of 2 arms where it stands for 2A Rights Matter. So check out our new t-shirt and help us feed our dog.